I texted Daniel, the surgery is done. Message sent. Not read. I called him. It rang 3 times before he picked up. Sophie, I'm really busy right now. His voice was lowered, like he was somewhere serious. I just came out of surgery. I said, the baby's gone. There was 2 seconds of silence on the other end. Then he said, Lily's having a C-section today. I need to be with her. For a moment, I thought I'd misheard. Who? Lily, he said. She's not doing well. The doctor said it had to be an emergency C-section. I can't leave. My hand was shaking around the phone. Daniel, I just had a miscarriage. I spoke slowly, clearly. The baby we had, our baby, is gone. I know. But what? Don't get emotional, he said, in the tone you'd use to calm down a child throwing a tantrum. Lily's situation is really urgent. She's alone here. No family with her. Have your sister come take care of you for now. The call disconnected. I stared at the screen. He didn't ask which hospital I was in. He didn't ask if I was in pain. He didn't ask how the baby was lost. Lily, his ex-wife, my sister, Emma, pushed the door open. I thought she was a nurse. When I looked up and saw her face, my stomach dropped. How did it go? She asked, standing by the bed without sitting down. They couldn't save the baby, I said. She sighed. It was just a miscarriage. Rest up and try again. Just a miscarriage. I closed my eyes. I didn't want to look at her. My phone buzzed. A social media notification. My sister's post. The photo was taken outside a delivery room. A man in blue surgical scrubs, wearing a cap and mask. But I recognized him instantly. Daniel. He was turned slightly to the side, walking into the delivery room. The caption read, "The Brooks family welcomes a grandson. Mom and baby are safe." Brooks. My husband's last name. My sister's post. A photo of my husband outside a delivery room. Mom and baby are safe. My hands trembled as I took a screenshot. Then the post disappeared. 3 seconds later, my sister looked up at me, not a hint of embarrassment on her face. You saw it? He delivered Lily's baby? It's not easy for Lily to be in the US, alone. What's wrong with Daniel helping her? After all, she's his ex-wife. There's still history between them. History. I repeated. Don't overthink it, she said. Your health comes first. Focus on recovering. She left. I lay on the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. Lily was in this hospital too. Daniel was here. I miscarried. He was delivering his ex-wife's baby. Slowly, I sat up and picked up my phone. I opened our chat history. Yesterday at 3 p.m., I'd texted, "My stomach hurts so bad. Can you come home early?" Unread. The night before at 8 p.m., Daniel, "I'm bleeding. Should I go to the hospital?" Unread. The day before that at 11 a.m., the doctor said my progesterone is low. I need bed rest. Can you take some time off? Unread. All unread. I scrolled up and up. The last time he replied was 5 days ago. Business trip. Busy. That's when it hit me. How far along was Lily? When did she come back? When did they start talking again? My mind was chaos. But one thought suddenly broke through. Daniel had always said, the Brooks family must have a son. He'd said it so many times. At dinner. Before bed. The day I found out I was pregnant. He'd been ecstatic. Spinning me around. Saying, Sophie, you have to give me a son. Back then, I thought he was just traditional. Now I realized it wasn't about tradition. He had to have a son, no matter who gave birth to him. I opened my banking app. For 3 years of marriage, Daniel handled all our finances. He said he understood investments better and told me not to worry. I never questioned it, but I had access. I logged in. I checked the transfer history. Every month, there was a fixed outgoing payment, $800. Recipient, Lily Brooks. Memo, living expenses. Starting 3 years ago. 3 years. The year we got married. How long had Lily been pregnant? How old was her child? I couldn't think straight, but I could calculate one thing. 3 years. 36 months. 800 times 36. $28,800. I had been paying living expenses for a woman I didn't even know existed, for 3 years. My phone slipped onto the bed. I stared at the ceiling. The pain was still there. But it had moved. It wasn't in my abdomen anymore. It was in my chest. My head. Every nerve in my body. Daniel didn't love me. He never had. This wasn't an affair. It was a scam. The day I was discharged, Daniel came to pick me up. He was wearing the white shirt I'd bought him. His hair was neatly styled. He stood at the hospital door with that standard good husband expression. "Sophie, I'm sorry," he said, stepping forward to hug me. "I really couldn't get away that day. Lily's condition was too dangerous. I know you're hurting. I am too. I'm devastated about the baby." I let him hold me, his arms wrapped around me. His lips were close to my ear, saying all those things. I didn't move, didn't speak, didn't push him away, because I was thinking about something else. Was Lily's baby his? When we got home, he helped me lie down, poured me water, placed my medicine on the bedside table. He said he needed to stop by the office and would come back early. I nodded. The moment the door closed, I sat up. I'd lived in this house for 3 years. For the first time, it didn't feel like my home. I started searching. His study, his drawers, the top shelf of his closet, the box he never let anyone touch. Nothing. Nothing at all. I sat on the floor of his study, surrounded by scattered documents, bills, old photos, all useless. He'd hidden everything too well. Wait. My eyes moved to the bookshelf. On the very top shelf was a black notebook. I had never seen it before. I dragged over a chair and took it down. The cover was leather, slightly worn. I opened it. On the first page, in neat handwriting, was a single line, "To my only love, Lily." I kept flipping through the notebook. It was his handwriting. Page 1, "Today Lily and I finalized the divorce. She said she couldn't take it anymore. Said I wasn't good enough for her. She's right. I had nothing. What could I possibly use to make her stay?" Page 2, "Met a woman. Sophie, Chinese. Her family's wealthy. She seems interested in me. Lily told me to seize the opportunity. She said this is my only way out right now." Page 3, "Proposal successful. Sophie's family agreed to fund my startup. Lily said she would wait for me. Wait until my company takes off. Until I'm on solid ground. Until she forgets all the unhappiness." Page 4, "First day of marriage. Sophie is very happy. So am I. Because her trust fund cleared today. This money is enough to get me started." Page 5, "Lily is pregnant. Mine." I closed the notebook, then opened it again. Read it one more time. Page 5, "Lily is pregnant. Mine." There was a date. 1 year ago. The 2nd year of our marriage. The day I miscarried. She had a C-section. How old was her child? I could do the math. The door clicked. Daniel stood in the doorway of the study. He looked at the mess on the floor, then at the notebook in my hands. His face changed. "Why are you going through my things?" I raised the notebook. "What is this?" He stepped forward, reaching to grab it. I took a step back. "Answer me. What is this?" "My journal," he said. "My private journal. What gives you the right to read it?" "Lily is pregnant," I said. "Yours?" He stopped. 3 seconds. 5 seconds. He said nothing. "The baby is yours," I said. "Right?" He still didn't speak, but that silence was clearer than any answer. I threw the journal to the floor. "I want a divorce." He froze for a second. Then he smiled. I had never seen that smile before. Not the gentle one he used with me. Not the indulgent one. This one was cold. Strange. Like a different face growing out of the one I knew. "Divorce?" he said. "Sophie, get this straight. Without me, you're nothing." "What? A woman like you, rich family, no real ability, who would want you besides me? You miscarried because your body failed. Who are you blaming? Lily gave birth to a son. What were you carrying? Do you know how long I've waited for that boy?" I stared at him. I had known this man for 3 years. Today was the first time I had truly seen him. "Without me, you're nothing," he repeated. I picked up my phone and dialed. "Olivia. It's Sophie. I'm getting a divorce. I need your help." Olivia was my college classmate and the only friend I truly trusted. By the time she arrived, Daniel had left. I showed her the journal, the bank transfers, the chat history. She read everything carefully, line by line. Then she looked up at me. Do you know how much money you've given him over the past 3 years? No. How much was your trust fund principal? $2 million. My parents set it up in my name before I got married. She nodded and started typing on her laptop. What year was his company registered? The year we got married. He said he used my money as startup capital. I didn't think much about it. Olivia searched for about 10 minutes. Then she smiled. I'd never seen that smile before. It was the smile of a hunter spotting prey. Sophie, do you know the company's ownership structure? No. The registered capital was $500,000. All transferred from your premarital account. Legally. That money is your separate property. And, she turned the laptop toward me. When the company was registered, the shares were listed under both your names. 50% each. I didn't understand. You're saying, I'm saying. Olivia enunciated each word. Half of that company has been in your name from the beginning. He didn't know? I thought about it. He doesn't know. I said. He never let me get involved in the business. I never asked. He thought I didn't understand. He thought you didn't understand. Olivia's smile widened. Perfect. She started making calls. To the bank. To the business registration office. To a few lawyer friends she knew. I didn't understand all the legal terms she was using, but I knew what she was doing. She was digging into every dollar Daniel had moved. Every document tied to his company. Lily's background. 2 hours later, she hung up her last call. Sophie, guess what I found? What? Lily doesn't have legal status in the US. She was supposed to leave 3 years ago. Someone got her a fake green card. Guess who? Daniel. Exactly, Olivia said. And he paid for it through the company account. When the payment was recorded, it was labeled employee benefits. I wasn't a lawyer, but I knew what employee benefits meant. Lily wasn't his employee. And there's more. Olivia continued. Last year his company took out a $2 million loan. On the application, it says married. Spouse has no income. No liabilities. Guess who that spouse is? Me. You. She said. But he marked no income. Doesn't your trust fund generate income? Isn't the house under your name an asset? He deliberately concealed your financial information to secure the loan. She leaned back in her chair. Sophie, this isn't just divorce. What is it? It's marital fraud. Daniel's family had a tradition, the last weekend of every month. Everyone gathered for a big family dinner. This month, it was our turn to host. I knew he would invite Lily. He did. That night, more than 20 relatives filled the house. His parents, his sister Emma, cousins, and Lily. Lily carried the baby, the boy who had just passed his first month. Everyone surrounded her. Oh my, this child looks exactly like Daniel did as a baby. Look at those eyes. That nose, like they were cut from the same mold. Lily, you did so well. You gave the Brooks family its eldest grandson. I sat alone in the corner. No one paid any attention to me. Emma walked over with a glass of wine, looking down at me. Sophie, don't be upset. Lily gave Daniel a son. That's wonderful news. Your miscarriage was because you weren't careful. You can't blame anyone else. I looked up at her. How do you know I wasn't careful? She froze for a second. The doctor said. I continued. It was a missed miscarriage. 'Cause unknown. How do you know it was because I wasn't careful? Her face stiffened. I was just saying it casually. Casually? I stood up. Casually saying I accidentally killed my own child? Emma, you're my sister. Where were you the day I miscarried? You were posting on social media. You posted a picture of my husband outside a delivery room with the caption, "The Brooks family welcomes a grandson." Do you know what I was doing at that moment? I had just been wheeled out of surgery. My baby was gone. I was lying in that bed alone. The entire room went silent. Lily took a step back, clutching the baby tighter. Daniel walked over, trying to grab my arm. Sophie, you're still recovering. Don't get worked up. I shook him off. Don't touch me. I pulled a document envelope out of my bag and opened it. The first page, I threw it onto the table. Bank transfer records. For the past 3 years. $800 every month. Recipient, Lily Brooks. From our joint account. I didn't know about it because you handled the money. The second page. Hotel records. Over the past 3 years. You stayed at the same hotel. In the same room. 47 times. The dates perfectly match your so-called business trips. The third. I slammed the black notebook onto the table. Your journal. The first page says, "To my only love, Lily." Inside, you wrote about how you planned to marry me, how you used my money to start your company, how you were waiting for Lily to come back. And this line, "Lily is pregnant. Mine." No one spoke. Daniel's face went pale. Emma opened her mouth but made no sound. Lily held the baby tighter and stepped back again. I looked at Daniel. "Tell me, is Lily's child yours?" Silence. "Answer me." Still silence. "Fine," I said. "If you won't say it, the court will. I'll request a paternity test." Lily suddenly shouted. "How dare you? What does my son have to do with you?" "He has nothing to do with me," I said evenly, "but he has everything to do with his father. If his father is my husband, then it has everything to do with me, because we are legally married. His debts are my debts. His obligations are my obligations. The $800 he sent you every month came from my account. He used my money to support you and your son. So tell me, does it have anything to do with me?" Her face changed. I turned back to Daniel. "You just said that without me, you're nothing." "You were right. Without me, you are nothing. I funded your startup. That loan you got? Fraud. The fake green card you bought for her? Paid out of the company account, and half of that company account is mine." I gathered the documents. "See you in court." In court, Daniel hired a lawyer. The lawyer stood up and said, "My client is the victim. The plaintiff is emotionally unstable and has a history of psychological issues. The recent miscarriage has deeply affected her. Her statements cannot be considered reliable evidence. The so-called marital fraud is purely a delusion caused by post-miscarriage depression." Olivia stood up. "Your Honor, I request to submit evidence." One by one, she placed them forward. Bank transfers, hotel records, the original journal, and a video. Hotel hallway surveillance footage. Date, August 15th of last year. In the video, Daniel and Lily walked into a room together. 2 a.m. "These are hotel records from last year," Olivia said calmly. "The defendant told my client he was on business trips. In reality, he maintained a long-term improper relationship with this woman. She overstayed her visa 3 years ago. The defendant used company funds to pay for a fraudulent green card. The child she gave birth to has undergone DNA testing and is confirmed to be the defendant's biological son." The judge looked at Daniel. Daniel stood up. "Your Honor." Be quiet," the judge said sharply. Olivia continued. "When applying for a bank loan, the defendant deliberately concealed the plaintiff's actual financial status. The plaintiff holds a trust fund and real estate assets. Yet on the loan application, the defendant marked spouse has no income. This constitutes clear fraud." The judge flipped through the documents. "What does the bank say?" "An investigation has been initiated," Olivia replied. "If fraud is confirmed, the loan agreement may be deemed invalid, and the full principal and interest could become immediately due." Daniel's lawyer's face turned green. He leaned over to whisper to Daniel. Daniel shook his head. The two began arguing in hushed voices. Lily sat in the gallery, pale as paper. Emma sat beside her, pretending not to know her. The judge tapped the desk. "Does the defendant agree to a paternity test?" Daniel remained silent. "Yes or no?" Lily suddenly stood up. "I don't agree." The judge looked at her. "And you are?" "I'm the child's mother. I gave birth to him. Whether there's a test is up to me." The judge glanced at the paperwork. Upon the plaintiff's request, the court has already approved compulsory testing. Your objection is noted, but the order stands. Lily froze. "The results are in," the judge said. The courtroom fell silent. "Confirmed," the judge announced. "The child shares a biological father-son relationship with the defendant, Daniel Brooks." Daniel closed his eyes. Lily collapsed back into her seat. I sat there, saying nothing. After the paternity results were released, Daniel's company stock began to fall. It was a startup to begin with, propped up mostly by his sales pitches. Now that the divorce case was public and the media picked it up, who would still invest? Lily panicked. One day, Olivia called me. "We received an audio recording." "From who?" "Lily." I pressed play. Daniel's voice, "Don't worry. Sophie is just an ATM. A woman like her, protected her whole life. Knows nothing." Once my company takes off and I get the money, I'll divorce her. Then we'll remarry. You bring the child back, and the three of us will live properly. Lily's voice, are you sure she can give enough money? Of course. Her parents have plenty. There's still over $1 million left in her trust fund. I'll hang in there 2 more years, squeeze the rest out, and we'll be set for life. The recording ended. Olivia asked, what's Lily trying to do by sending this? I thought for a moment. She and Daniel had a falling out. Why? Money, I said. Daniel has no money now. The company's about to collapse. The bank is demanding repayment. He can't even afford the legal fees. Lily isn't getting child support. She's desperate. Olivia smiled. So she sends this to you to, what? Make peace? No, I said quietly. She wants me to take Daniel down, so she can profit from the chaos. So what are you going to do? I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Daniel, I said when he picked up. Lily sent me an audio recording. Want to hear it? 3 seconds of silence. What recording? The one where you call me an ATM, where you talk about squeezing money out of me, where you say you'll divorce me and remarry her. Should I play it for the press? Sophie, listen to me. I don't want to listen. I want one thing. What? Sign over the company. What? You're still the legal representative, but I own half the shares. With your scandals, the bank is about to pull the loan. Your only way out is to transfer operational control to me. I'll take over and stabilize things. You can deal with your mess. Are you insane? I built that company from scratch. From scratch? I laughed coldly. Who paid the startup capital? That $500,000 was mine. The office rent? Mine. The first employee's salary? Mine. You built it from scratch? He went silent. I'm giving you 3 days. I said. 3 days. I want the equity transfer agreement on my desk. Otherwise, that recording goes to every media outlet I can find. I hung up. 3 days later, the agreement arrived. I became interim CEO. On my first day, the first thing I did was audit the books. The CFO was an older man who had worked under Daniel for years. At first, he refused to cooperate. Olivia showed him a few documents. This is the bank's demand letter. This is a notice of investigation from the IRS. This is the loan contract you signed last year, with your signature on it. If fraud is confirmed, you're an accomplice. So think carefully. Help us investigate. Or go down with him? He chose to help. A week later, the findings were clear. Inflated revenue, inflated expenses, fake employee numbers, tax evasion. Over 3 years, about $800,000. I compiled everything and sent it to the IRS. 2 weeks later, Daniel received a summons. He waited for me outside the office building that day. When I stepped out of the car, he rushed toward me. Sophie, listen to me. Security blocked him. I stood on the steps and looked at him. He was wearing the white shirt I'd bought him. Now it was wrinkled like a rag. His hair was messy, stubble covering his face, eyes bloodshot like he hadn't slept in days. Sophie, I'm begging you, he said. The IRS is investigating me. The bank is taking the house. Lily is suing me for unpaid child support. I've lost everything. Please, just let me go. Let you go? We were married. Don't be this heartless. Married. I repeated. Yes. I know I was wrong, but I had no choice. Lily kept pressuring me. She said if I didn't marry her again, she'd take the child away. I had to lie to you, but I treated you well, didn't I? I cooked for you, went shopping with you. I did whatever you wanted. Think about the good times, the good times. I said quietly. Were they real, or were they rehearsed? He froze. In your journal. I continued. Sophie is gentle, easy to control. You were acting from the beginning. All the kindness was performance. All the sweet words were scripted. Every day was just a countdown until my money cleared. He opened his mouth. I didn't. Whether you did or didn't doesn't matter. I said, see you in court. I turned and walked inside. Behind me, he shouted, Sophie, you can't do this. You'll regret it. I stopped, looked back at him. Regret? I said, the only thing I regret in this life is not checking the calendar the day I met you. On the final court date, the courtroom was packed. Daniel's parents were there. Emma was there. Lily was there. A few reporters too. The judge read the ruling. In the divorce case of Sophie Chen versus Daniel Brooks, the court finds, during the marriage, the defendant maintained a long-term extramarital relationship and fathered a child. The defendant concealed his marital status in order to obtain bank loans. The defendant used the plaintiff's premarital assets to register a company without full disclosure. The defendant's conduct constitutes marital fraud. Daniel kept his head down. The ruling is as follows: divorce is granted. Full ownership of the company shares is awarded to the plaintiff. The defendant shall pay the plaintiff $200,000 in damages for emotional distress of the defendant's real estate, vehicles, and savings. After debt settlement, the plaintiff shall receive 80%. Daniel looked up. Your Honor, this isn't fair. Does the defendant contest the findings? I do. Why does she get my company? I built it myself. The judge looked at him evenly. The company's registered capital of $500,000 came entirely from the plaintiff's premarital account. That money is her separate property. You used it to establish the company. Therefore, she is legally entitled to ownership, combined with your fraudulent conduct within the marriage. The court's ruling is lawful and appropriate. Daniel tried to speak again. His lawyer pulled him down into his seat. Lily stood up and walked out. Emma was crying. Daniel's parents clung to each other, faces ashen. I stood and walked toward the exit. Behind me, Daniel shouted, "Sophie, you can't do this. I have nothing left." I stopped, turned back. "Nothing left?" I said. "The day I miscarried, you were outside a delivery room waiting for your son. I was alone in a hospital bed. My child was gone. Your son was born. Tell me, who had nothing left?" He said nothing. "You destroyed my marriage." I said. "I took back my life." 3 months later, Daniel moved into a low-income apartment. $600 a month. No furniture. Roaches everywhere. His car was repossessed. The house was auctioned off. The company was gone. His savings were gone. His credit destroyed. Lily hounded him daily. "Where's the child support? The court ordered $800 a month. You haven't paid a dime." "I don't have money." "No money? Then get a job. Borrow it. Steal it for all I care. My son needs to eat. I can't find work. Who would hire me? My credit's ruined. I have a record. No one will touch me." Lily snapped. She sent more recordings to reporters. Daniel's voice again. "Sophie is an ATM. Once I get the money, I'll divorce her. Lily, don't rush. Once I handle her, we'll remarry." The media picked it up again. Headlines spread everywhere. Gold digger groom exposed. Heiress scammed by ex-husband. Marital fraud scandal. Victim becomes CEO. Daniel was socially dead. None of his old friends answered his calls. Former business partners blocked him. Even Emma lost her job. She had been working as an admin at a small company. Her boss saw the news and said, "We don't need people like this," and fired her. Emma called me, crying, "Sophie, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have posted that photo. I shouldn't have defended Daniel. But I'm your sister. You can't just let me starve." "Are you starving?" "I haven't found a job yet. I can't even pay rent." "Emma," I said calmly, "I am your sister. The day I miscarried, you were outside a delivery room taking pictures. You captioned it, 'The Brooks family welcomes a grandson.' You didn't visit me once. You didn't ask if I was in pain. You didn't ask how the baby died. I am your sister." She fell silent. "You can't find a job because of your choices. You chose to stand with him. You live with the consequences." I hung up. After I took over the company, the first thing I did was restructure management. Daniel's people, those who needed to go, left. Those who could be replaced, were replaced. The old CFO, I kept. He had helped falsify accounts. Yes, but out of fear of losing his job. His professional skills were solid. I gave him a raise. He worked harder than anyone afterward. I replaced the head of sales with a woman in her early 30s who had worked 8 years at a competitor. When I recruited her, she said, "Sophie, I've wanted to work with you for a long time. I've read about you. You're incredible. I haven't accomplished much yet." I told her, "You will." She said. RD was overhauled too. Daniel had always been reluctant to invest in development. He believed selling the dream mattered more than the product. I did the opposite. I poured half our profits into research. hired engineers, bought equipment, built new product lines. 3 months later, the first new line launched. 5 months later, sales doubled. 8 months later, we acquired our largest competitor. The owner of that company was someone Daniel had once tried desperately to impress, never once earning his respect. Now his company was acquired by mine. When he came to negotiate, he addressed me as CEO Chin, all smiles and courtesy. I didn't meet him personally. I sent my VP. That year, I was invited to speak at an industry summit. I stood on stage, facing hundreds of people, investors who once dismissed me, partners who thought I was just Daniel's wife, competitors who had tried to undermine me. I said, 1 year ago, I was lying in a hospital bed after a miscarriage. My husband was outside a delivery room, waiting for his son to be born with his ex-wife. I thought my life was over. The room fell silent. Then I realized my life wasn't over. His was. A ripple of laughter. Today I am the CEO of this company. Our profits have doubled. We acquired our competitor. We are the fastest growing firm in this sector. Applause. I want to say this, especially to women, your value is not defined by someone else's opinion. It's defined by what you hold in your own hands. Being betrayed doesn't mean you lost. It means you saw the truth. And once you see the truth, you can begin again. The applause grew louder. Afterward, people surrounded me for business cards. I smiled, shook hands, made connections. A man approached. Sophie Chin? I looked up. Blonde hair, blue eyes, early 40s, tailored suit. I'm Thomas, he said. You don't know me, but I know you. I read about you. I admire what you've done. May I take you out for coffee? I studied him for 3 seconds. Sorry, I said. I'm not dating. He smiled. Not a date. A partnership discussion. My company would like to explore a project with yours. I paused. Then I smiled. Coffee works. Daniel came to see me in winter. It was cold, raining. I was waiting in the company lobby when he burst in from outside. Security tried to stop him. Sophie, let me in. Just a few words. I walked over. He stood at the entrance, soaked through, hair plastered to his face, lips purple from the cold. Sophie, he said, please lend me some money. I have no options left. Lily sued me. The court is enforcing payment. My wages are frozen. I can't even afford food. I looked at him. 3 years ago, he had stood at our wedding, saying I do, polished and confident. Now he looked like a vagrant. Lend you money? Yes. Just a little. I'll pay you back. Once I find work. I swear. I have nowhere to go. I reached into my bag and took out an envelope. His eyes lit up. I opened it and pulled out the contents. A copy of the court judgment. He froze. Have you read this? I asked. You owe me $200,000 in emotional damages. You haven't paid a cent. And you're asking me for money? I know I owe you. But I really have no way. You do. I said. You have hands. You have feet. You can work. Wash dishes. Deliver food. Drive Uber. You just don't want to. You're used to being supported. Used to money falling from the sky. Used to living off others. He said nothing. Daniel, I could give you money, but I won't. Because you don't lack money. You lack integrity. He looked up. Eyes wet. Do you hate me that much? I don't hate you, I said calmly. If I hated you, it would mean you still mattered. You don't. You're nothing to me. He dropped to his knees. People in the lobby stared. The receptionist's mouth hung open. The cleaning lady froze mid-mop. Security looked at me. I looked down at him. Get up. He didn't move. Security. 2 guards stepped forward. Escort him out. They lifted him and dragged him toward the door. Sophie, you can't do this. I didn't respond. I turned toward the elevator. Behind me, the doors shut, sealing out the sound of rain. Lily came to see me too. She had lost weight. She stood outside the building, holding the child. Sophie, I want to talk. I told security to let her in. She sat across from me. The child squirmed in her lap. He looks like Daniel, I said. She lowered her head. I know I shouldn't have come to you, but I really had no other choice. Daniel won't give me a dime. Even after the court ruling, he says he can't pay. I'm raising the child alone. I don't have a job. I don't have legal status. I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? She looked up at me. Could you show some mercy? Let him off the hook? If he's allowed to work and make money, then he can pay me child support. I looked at her. Lily, do you know what he was doing the day I miscarried? She didn't say anything. He was standing outside the delivery room waiting for you. The day your son was born. My son died. And you're asking me to show mercy? She started crying. I know I wronged you, but the child is innocent. He has to eat. He has to go to school. He has to grow up. You can't let a child starve just because you hate Daniel. Whether your child starves or not isn't my responsibility. It's yours and his. You chose this path. You deal with the consequences. She stood up, picked up her child, and headed for the door. At the doorway, she turned back. Sophie, I know you'll never forgive me. I'm not asking you to, but there's something I want to tell you. What? Daniel never loved you. Not from the beginning. But he never loved me either. He only loves himself. We were both blind. Then she left. I stared at the door for a long time. Later, Lily sued him again. This time for unpaid child support and fraud. The court ordered enforcement. Half of Daniel's paycheck was garnished every month, and it still wasn't enough to cover the interest. Lily completely turned on him. She released all the recordings, chat logs, and transfer records to the media. Daniel was socially finished, blacklisted in the industry. Friends cut him off. Relatives blocked him. He lived alone in that low-rent apartment. Couldn't even afford to turn on the heat. On the coldest day of winter, someone saw him digging through trash outside a supermarket. I didn't go see him. I didn't feel vindicated. I just thought, sometimes, the world really is fair. A year later, the company went public. I stood at the bell-ringing ceremony wearing a white blouse. Not the one Daniel had given me, one I bought for myself. There was a huge crowd below. My parents were in the front row, eyes red. Emma didn't come. She'd found a job as a receptionist at a small company, making $3,000 a month. She'd asked someone to tell me she wanted to have dinner. I didn't respond. Olivia stood beside me in a sharp black suit and gave me a thumbs up. Sophie, you did it. Not just me. It was you. The bell rang. Applause filled the room. I looked at the faces below, investors, partners, employees, reporters. One face was missing. Daniel. Where was he? I didn't know, and I didn't care. That night, the company held a celebration banquet. I had a little wine, not much. On the ride home, I looked out the window as the driver took me through the city. I've lived here for 10 years. When I first arrived, I was an international student who didn't understand anything. Then I met Daniel and thought I'd found someone to rely on. Turns out it was a trap. I climbed out. Now I'm a CEO. A public company, worth over $100 million. My phone buzzed. News notification. Former CEO sentenced to 3 years for financial crimes. The photo showed Daniel in an orange prison uniform being led into court. I looked at his face. 3 seconds. Then I closed it. The day Daniel went to prison, I was in the office holding a board meeting. Someone knocked. My assistant said, "Ms. Sophie, there's a letter for you." I took it. Sender, Daniel Brooks. Address, XX prison. I opened it. The letter was short. Sophie, I know you don't forgive me. I'm not asking you to, but there's something I need to tell you. That diary, you were meant to find it. I knew you'd go through my things. I left it there on purpose. I wanted you to know the truth, to hate me, and to file for divorce. Lily was forcing me to marry her. I had no choice. I never expected you to destroy me like that. I never expected you to win. I lost. You won. I wish you well. I read it twice. Then I tore it up, fed it into the shredder. Should we respond? My assistant asked. No. That afternoon, I went to a hospital. Not because I was sick. It was the one where I'd been admitted the day I miscarried. I stood at the entrance for a while. Then I left. That night, I attended an event, the launch ceremony for a Women Entrepreneurs Foundation. I donated $5 million in my own name. It would specifically support women who had been deceived in marriage, who had hit rock bottom, who wanted to start over. A reporter asked me, Sophie, is there anything you'd like to say to them? I thought for a moment. Being betrayed doesn't mean you lost. It just means you saw who that person really is. And once you see clearly, you can begin again. The reporter asked, "Have you forgiven him?" I looked into the camera. Forgiven? I said, I don't hate him, and I don't need to forgive him. He's no longer important to me. A year after the IPO, I moved into a new home, a top-floor apartment downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows, a view of the entire city. That afternoon, I stood by the window watching the sunset. My phone rang. It was the hospital. MS. Sophie, your recent checkup results are back. You've recovered very well. You can absolutely try for another child now. I thanked her and hung up. A child. The day I miscarried, I thought I'd never have one again. Now it wasn't that I couldn't. It was that I didn't want to. At least not now. The doorbell rang. It was my parents. Mom carried a bag full of food. Dad brought 2 bottles of wine. Sophie, it's your birthday today. Did you forget? I froze for a second. I had. Mom bustled around in the kitchen. Dad watched TV in the living room. I stood on the balcony, looking at the ocean in the distance. My phone buzzed again. News notification. Daniel Brooks receives 3-month sentence reduction for good behavior in prison. I stared at the line. 3 seconds. Then swiped it away. Dinner was ready. Mom called me inside. I turned, walked in, and closed the door. Some variety show was playing on TV. Dad laughed loudly. Mom set out bowls and chopsticks, scolding him for watching TV instead of helping. I sat down and picked up my chopsticks. Dad said, "Sophie, happy birthday. Your mom and I are proud of you." Mom's eyes were red. "Our daughter is the best." I smiled. That night, I lay in bed, unable to sleep. I picked up my phone and scrolled. There was a message from Thomas. "Sophie, about that collaboration we talked about, I've finished the proposal. When are you free to discuss it? And maybe I could take you to dinner. Not a business dinner." I read it twice, thought for a moment, replied, "Next week. This week's busy." He didn't respond. The next morning, I went to the office. In the elevator, someone greeted me. "Good morning, MS. Sophie." "Morning." As the elevator rose, I looked at my reflection in the mirror. I look a little older than 2 years ago, but my eyes are different. Back then, they were empty. Now they're full. The elevator doors opened. I walked out. My assistant approached. MS. Sophie. Board meeting at 10. Lunch with investors at 12. Product launch at 3 this afternoon. You might want to change outfits. Okay. I walked into my office and stood by the window. The city stretched out beneath me. Suddenly I remembered that day, lying in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. Back then, I thought I was finished. Now I know, it was only the beginning. My phone buzzed. I picked it up. It was a comment under the news article. "Sophie Chen is the coolest woman I've ever seen. She's living the life I want. She makes me believe that betrayed women can rise again." I looked at the comments and smiled. Not a triumphant smile, a relieved one. What he destroyed was only my marriage. What I took back was my life.